The argument from reason? That sounds quite grand.
The Brooklyn Bridge is good for two things: getting people from one side to the other and giving pigeons a place to perch and rest their tired little wings. People can feel safe crossing this bridge because it was designed to support lots of traffic going back and forth every day. But what if it hadn't been designed with human beings and their vehicles in mind? What if the Brooklyn Bridge had been constructed as a big perch for pigeons, perhaps to keep them off the buildings of Manhattan? In that case, wouldn't it be utterly foolish to drive your car across it? Does it make sense to trust something with a task that goes vastly beyond what it was meant to do?
I'd just like to point out that an object's actual properties are more pertinent to determining what it can do than what it was designed for. Objects are often inadequate for what they were designed to do, and objects are often effective at tasks that they were not designed for.
This is the basic idea behind the argument from reason, which is mainly an argument against naturalism. Naturalism is the claim that the natural world is all that exists. No God, no angels, no demons, just matter, energy, and natural forces. Many atheists are naturalists. But the argument from reason can also be used to support belief in gods.
The argument against naturalism also supports belief in God. Are you sure your argument was meant to do that? Just saying.
So, here goes. Human beings have the ability to reason. We're using it right now. We wouldn't have discussions like this if we thought that our cognitive faculties, the processes that produce our beliefs, were unreliable.
The reliability of our faculties are properly basic beliefs. It is necessary in order to believe anything else and in order to survive. It cannot be demonstrated because you have to assume it in order to undertake such a demonstration, and it cannot be disproven because you have to make the same assumption to do so. Before you ask, no, I do not consider God to be a properly basic belief, but that's a subject for another video.
But naturalists have a problem here because they can only explain things by appealing to natural objects, natural events, natural causes. Think about this for a moment. You have beliefs. Ultimately, according to naturalism, your beliefs must be the result of physical processes in your brain. Now, what's going on in here? Particles in motion, chemical reactions, neurons firing. It's all physical, governed by laws of nature, not by commitment to truth. So what really seems like careful reasoning to you is actually straightforward, mechanical, mindless cause and effect. A fancy array of falling dominoes.
Perhaps reasoning itself is a physical process? I don't know that it is, but it's a possibility that could be entertained. After all, my computer can do logic, and nobody thinks my computer has a soul to enable it to do so.
Illusions aside, then, you arrive at your beliefs via a process that has absolutely nothing to do with whether those beliefs are true or false. Chemicals couldn't conceivably care less. So, if naturalism is true, what sense does it make to trust our reasoning ability or our beliefs or even our belief in naturalism? Not a bunch. But it gets worse. How did we acquire our reasoning ability, according to the naturalists? Human beings obtained the ability to reason through the creative powers of evolution, natural selection acting on random mutation. Obviously, the random mutation part isn't going to fill us with a tremendous degree of confidence.
To say that reasoning came about by an unreliable process, therefore reasoning is unreliable, is a genetic fallacy.
So the question is whether we can count on our good friend natural selection to sift through all the intellectually deficient mutant traits, leaving us with a reliable belief-forming mutant trait. Here you might want to pull out your Biology 101 textbooks. Does natural selection favor philosophical insight? Mathematical skill?
Yo, baby, you check out my new calculator?
Scientific acumen?
Stupid apple!
Of course not!
This chart is taken from XKCD. Perhaps not a scholarly source, but it demonstrates something very clear. The green blocks represent the combined biomass of wild animals. The dark blocks represent the combined biomass of humans, and the light blocks represent the combined biomass of the animals we have domesticated. Human biomass alone is many times more than the total biomass of all the wild animals. Humans are the most successful animal species on the planet. What separates us from other animals? Why did we take over the world rather than some other African ape? It is because our reason allows us to develop agriculture and to develop technology that allows us to survive in different conditions, whether that technology be a fur coat or air conditioning. Furthermore, philosophy, math, and science might give us the ability to expand beyond Earth. This is why we're so much successful than any other animal species. This is natural selection at work.
One obvious objection at this point is that reliable cognitive faculties do help organisms survive and reproduce.
You don't say.
If you believe that jumping off this bridge will kill you, and I'm convinced that I'm a pigeon and can fly, I'm probably going to die and you're going to live and maybe have children, passing on those smart genes of yours to the next generation. But there are two problems with this response. First, there's a massive difference between, on the one hand, beliefs that help us find food or a partner, and on the other hand, beliefs about ultimate reality or the origin of the universe or correct scientific methodology. The kinds of beliefs that help us survive and reproduce are usually grounded in basic observation and experience.
My friend Thag died eating these berries, so I won't eat them!
But even the lower mammals can do that. When a mouse sees his buddy stuck to a glue trap, he learns to avoid glue traps. Does this suggest in any way that rodents are capable of metaphysics or epistemology or ethics? No.
As I keep pointing out, our ability to understand the universe allows us to develop better agriculture, medicine, and technology. That such knowledge is distinct from what a dog is able to understand is irrelevant.
Even if you had a perfectly reliable belief-forming system in one area, say avoiding mousetraps, that wouldn't be any reason to trust the system in a far more sophisticated area, say avoiding logical fallacies.
My friend Thag died committing the fallacy of denying the antecedent, so I won't commit it!
Avoiding fallacies allows us to do better science, which allows us to make better technology, which helps us thrive more. Is there an echo here?
Second, when it comes to survival and reproduction, false beliefs can often be just as effective as true beliefs. If you believe that jumping off this bridge will kill you, and I'm convinced that I'm a pigeon who can't fly because my wings have been cursed by the flying spaghetti monster, we both avoid the edge and we both survive. False beliefs can even be helpful.
What David seems to be missing is the pragmatic nature of acquiring knowledge. False theories, such as David's cursed pigeon hypothesis, can make accurate predictions, and scientists understand that very well. For example, Newtonian physics explains and predicts the orbits of most planets and even predicted the discovery of previously unknown planets. However, the Newtonian model is not entirely true. It could not model the orbit of Mercury. Einstein's theory of relativity is what it took to do that. Furthermore, Hendrik Lorentz had a competing model that made the same predictions, yet scientists preferred Einstein's model by way of Occam's razor.
Here's the rub. When theists and naturalists argue about the world or morality or God, we enter the argument as if we're on some sort of intellectual neutral ground. Well, we all agree that our cognitive faculties are functioning properly, so let's take it from there and see what we can prove.
Yes, let's.
It wasn't made for that, according to the naturalists. Naturalism, then, doesn't just rule out knowledge of God, it rules out knowledge of pretty much anything.
Let's just entertain that we are biological machines for a second. A biological machine could have a mechanism for modeling facts about the outside world, i.e., gaining knowledge.
It's not only a threat to belief in spirits, it's also a threat to belief in science. And I have to ask, since you naturalists tell me there's no afterlife, what happens when you commit intellectual suicide?
Seriously, though, I'm not persuaded.
Let me share with you an artifact recently discovered in my sock drawer. This calculating device dates back to the Paleolithic age and was constructed by early man to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Suppose this primitive contraption falls into your possession. One day you're punching in some numbers and it starts talking to you. It's fine to say a machine's only meant to add, subtract, multiply, and divide, but once it starts engaging in conversation, we have to conclude that it was programmed to do more than rudimentary math.
Obviously, calculators don't talk because their physical properties do not grant them intelligence or speech, but things often do more than they were designed to do. For example, wood is designed to give trees structure, yet it can be used to propel lethal projectiles by way of bow and arrow. Furthermore, a bow can be used to start a fire, a task beyond the design of trees or bows.
There is an alternative, however. Christians believe we are created in the image of God with the ability to learn about everything up to and including our Creator. Does this give us a basis for trusting our reasoning ability? Absolutely. Our cognitive faculties aren't simply the product of natural selection acting on random mutation, and they serve a greater purpose than finding food. In other words, our ability to reason about ourselves and the world and God makes perfect sense on my worldview, but it makes no sense on naturalism.
Disproving naturalism, which you haven't even succeeded at, does not validate Christianity, nor does it validate theism. There are many worldviews other than physicalism and Christianity out there, and countless more which may be thought up. Frankly, having a story that, if true, would explain your ability to reason, is not sufficient for me to accept your worldview. Anyone can invent such a story.
We can continue arguing about the existence of God all day long then, but a little reflection shows that in arguing about anything, we've already come down on the side of theism. Of course, you naturalists are free to suppress the truth. You can continue pretending that your worldview allows things like logical laws or objective moral values or reliable cognitive faculties. You can keep borrowing beliefs and concepts from my worldview that your own worldview just can't support.
You just went full psi 10. Never go full psi 10. Alright, I'm done. Cheers.